Let's see. I think it's, yeah, I think we're on. I think we're live right here, right now. Okay, so I'm going to test that out by putting a picture up here on the screen, and I've already tested out the sound. So, guys, thank you all for being on the webinar today. Those of you who are new to the webinar, I'm going to start out by introducing myself. My name is Patrick Phillips. I'm the founder of American Business Systems, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about our company itself. We are basically in the franchise business opportunity arena, which means we sell a training and support package that teaches people how to run a business working from home. A lot of our licensees have actually opened up commercial office space as they grow, but most of our licensees still work out of their home from every area of life, and most of them with no medical billing background whatsoever. So this is teaching people how to do medical billing for doctors, filing their insurance claims and working with their patients to collect the money from them as well. It is a cloud-based billing system, which means there's no software that installs on your computers or the doctor's office computer. It's all run right over the cloud, right over the internet through any internet-based operating system. It doesn't matter whether it's Windows or Macintosh. It doesn't matter if it's on the iPad or the iPhone or any other smartphone that's out there or device or tablet. They all work because it is just running right through an internet browser, any internet browser. So we have been doing this for about almost 20 years now, and if you haven't been to our website, here it is right there on your screen, absystems.com, and you can certainly find out more about us by just clicking on any of the buttons there. Lots of detail there on the site if you've never been there, but if you really want to know more about us and the company, you have to click one of those two orange buttons that you see there on the screen, because that's where we'll really engage with you and show you what we call our virtual brochure. The virtual brochure steps you through, step by step, through the welcoming section there, goes into there's several slides or screens that tell you about the opportunity itself. You'll be able to find out all about the income potential, about each one of the 7 services that you can offer as an ABS licensee in addition to your medical billing. And we even have a whole section there on how we help you get clients. That is, what do we do to help you actually engage with the doctor, give them a live demo, help you with all the questions that might be asked, and get you the clients, because, of course, that's the hardest part of any business. Then we have a whole section on training. You can see there's lots of videos in this virtual brochure, and we go through and let you see an actual training session, a little clip of it there. Then we go into support and what happens after you've gone through our training. We have lifetime support for our licensees. As you can ask our guests today, we continue to support them even though they've been with us for a while. And then we go into detail about the technology and show you all the different ways that we help you as an ABS licensee by engaging with technology partners that have the leading edge stuff that's out there. Then we go through some final steps and a welcome to the team section. So that's what it's all about. Go out there, click one of those orange buttons on our website, and you can find out more. We're also members, by the way, of the HBMA, the Healthcare Billing and Management Association. They've been around for a long time, and they are a nationwide network as well, also with some support and some representation in Washington, D.C. So a good group to be a part of, and you can check them out there at hbma.org. We also have the highest rating possible with the Fort Worth Better Business Bureau. Always good to check with them to find out if a local business like ourselves. So go to the Fort Worth Better Business Bureau website, type in American Business Systems, and you'll find that we have an A+ rating there. You can't do that, folks, without treating people right in the internet age. Now, you're also welcome to visit us right here in the Keller, Texas area. Keller is a little suburb of Fort Worth, so just fly into DFW. Let us know you're coming, of course, and we'll give you some of our time during that day to visit with our people, see the technology, ask all the questions you want. And if it's during one of our training weeks, of course, we'll take you right over to the hotel where we do the training and let you set in on that as well. We do live training workshops here at the Marriott Spring Hill in Dallas. The next one coming up is, I think it's about 2 weeks from this Monday, May the 20th, and there's only 7 seats open in that class. They're very small, personalized classes. I think you'll really get a lot out of it. I'll tell you a little bit more about the webinar towards the end. I am a published author. If you want to go just check me out personally, you can check with Amazon.com. Look up my books that you see here on the screen. They're on Amazon, and you can find those in major bookstores as well. So if you also want to find out a little bit more about me and my staff, It is a family-owned business, and a lot of our family members, of course, are listed on there with their bios. We also have just added one of our senior medical advisors, Dr. Sally Conbest. You'll see there at the bottom of the screen. Sally is a clinical associate professor at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, Texas, and a practicing physician, and is currently providing anesthesiology care to patients at UTHSCSA. That's a mouthful, isn't it? All right, so anyway, you can find out more about us there. Now, let's see if our guests have hung on this whole time. Joe, Jennifer, are you still there?
We are here.
All right, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Boy, we got a big crowd of people here today. So
great.
You guys must be infamous. Hey, you know, I look back. It was I think it was back in July of last year that we talked last.
Wow, that's the last time we did a webinar?
Yep.
Wow.
Hard to believe, isn't it?
It is. Time flies. But we're excited to do one again today. I think I love doing these and love talking to folks that are trying to get involved in the business.
Well, you know that I certainly appreciate your time, because I know people love to hear success stories from people who've actually gone through. I mean, you guys did the due diligence on us, just like people are doing who are on here today. And I'm going to be sharing this webinar, by the way, with our existing licensees, because some of the people that you went through training with, of course, would love to hear where you're at in your business, as well as you know, all the other licensees out there. So let's go back in time. When was it that you guys actually came through the training? Remember?
July of 2007.
Oh, wow. So you guys are longtime senior members here of ABS.
we are coming up on our, what, 6th-year anniversary yet? 6
years, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Now, let me ask you, give us a little feel. Usually people want to ask where you came from. What were you doing at the time?
Got it. Well, my husband and I both have consumer marketing backgrounds, and my husband was transferred to this town and currently lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, to run a business. And we got here, and 6 months after we got here, the company was bought out. My husband was bought out, and we were left with a big move and kids in school and ready to go, and we didn't want to move again, so we had to reinvent ourselves. And so we started looking for businesses to get involved. Of course, this town wasn't great on consumer marketing opportunities, so we looked at our skill set. Joe was a CPA, sort of, you know, financial background, again, just marketing to consumers, and we found Patrick's company, ABS, and thought low cost to entry, and we thought, let's give it a try. We have marketing skills. We know how to go and, you know, sell products, and with the accounting background, but really any background works. And so we thought, let's give it a try. And we went out to the training in July of 2007 and started our business, I think, with our first client by, I think it was October of that. You know, by the time you get back from your training and get your company set up and the business cards, we probably started marketing September. I think October was our first client of that year.
Wow, well, that was within what, 90 days or so then? That's great.
Oh, yes, I know.
Now, you've already scared about half the people on the call, Jennifer, because when you said that you had a marketing background, some of those people are scared, you know, because...
But, you know, it's a different marketing. You know, we worked in Fortune 50 companies, and we worked in the marketing department. So it wasn't like we were doing any door-to-door sale or, you know, selling like we do now. So that really... While we do have that background, it had nothing to do with what we're currently doing.
Yeah, and, you know, I would say that's true probably of probably 90% of our, maybe 95% of the people who come through don't really have any, you know, educational background in marketing. They certainly don't have any experience out there, and they've never owned a business.
Correct. We didn't own a business. And I think the biggest thing I get questions on is, do you have a medical background? And that, to me, is like, you know, just understanding the language and is the bigger hurdle than everybody has a personality and can sell something, you know. I mean, whether it's, you know, cookies or Avon or, you know, that kind of thing. But I think the biggest scare I get when people call me is they don't know anything about medical billing. And we knew zero as well.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, you had never even worked in a medical field of any kind, much less billing, huh?
Exactly. You know, just the whole terminology, just the whole. So that to me was, you know, I guess the bigger, and it wasn't even a huge learning curve. It wasn't a huge hurdle for us. And to me, I think that's what we get most people asking. Oh, we don't know anything about medical terminology or billing or coding or anything. And I said, neither do we.
Yeah, I've got some questions already coming in, and folks, if you haven't found the little question box, it's over there on that control panel that showed up when you started the webinar. Look for that. It's probably hidden behind some windows on your screen, and look for the little question box. Just type in a question. As they come in, I'll read them out loud. I just read your first name, so we're not going to reveal who you are. And there's already one here from Ann. Jennifer, she's asking, how long did it take you to get your first client? I think you kind of indicated there that it was within the first 3 or 4 months, wasn't it?
Correct, Ann. It was, we came back from our class in July, and we had a lot of, I would call it administrative work to do, i.e. getting your name incorporated, and they'll teach you all this in class of how to get all that set up, get your business cards. So it was 60 days probably, it was probably just September, and then the end of October we got our first client, so probably 60 days. From the time we started till the time we got our first client.
And she also asked, and what type of client was it?
Internal medicine.
Internal medicine, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And can you give us a feel for that, Jennifer? When you say internal medicine, for most people, what kind of volume of claims does an internist do?
It depends on the practice. Some of them, I'd say an average is like 20 patients a day. Could go from 15 to 25, but I think 25. Joe, do you want to comment on that? Or just...
That's a little high. And our first doctor was an older guy, practiced by himself, so he probably I think he probably averages more like 12 to 16 patients a day, somewhere in there. Yeah. Depends on the day.
And I guess I would say, and it doesn't matter what any client, for us that was a blessing to just get your feet wet that's one of our smaller clients now, just learning the business. And I will tell you, Ann, as soon as you get your first client, ABS is right there hand-holding you to set it up, get it going, get through it. So we were blessed that it was on the smaller side just to get our feet wet and understand the business, understand the business.
Sure. Well, even 12 to 16, that's about 14 a day. I figured out that's about almost 300 claims a month, 50 to 300 claims a month.
Exactly.
That's a perfect size to begin with, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, like you said, it's probably one of your smaller ones now, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you started with that one, and here's one from Alan. He says, how did you find your first client? What type of marketing methods did you use?
Great question, Alan. And what I tell most people that consult or just ask us, ABS gives you great materials and great process to methodically go in and get that point of contact, find the practice manager, and I did all those things that ABS asked us to do. But I do think it really helps, and they tell you to do this too, is networking. It's a person that will endorse you and a person that will vouch for you. And ironically, Alan, I did what I was supposed, I went in and gave my business card, got the practice manager's name. Ironically, that day I was chatting with one of my friends and said, I called on this, and she goes, oh, I know him. I'm going to call them and get you a meeting set up. And, that she made that happen. We went and met with him. We closed the deal, and that's how it happened. I do think that having people vouch for you and go to bat for you is probably the best way to get your first client. And then, of course, your reputation from then on, people talk and they go to meetings and then they say, I have a great biller, and then you're off and running. The first client, I will say, is just, the most, you have to be the most diligent. But I would say all of those things you learn in class, go door to door, meet people, follow up, tell everybody you're doing this, and then, the connections work and they go, oh, I know that doctor. I'll give him a call. I'll get you an appointment. And then ABS gives you all those tools, and once you get in the door, we have found very few times, if you get your foot in the door, it's greater than 50% that you're going to close the deal. We found that's the hardest. Just if we got in the door and somebody's willing to listen to us and means that they need some help, you're off and running.
And we may not have done this, Joe and Jennifer, when you guys came through training back in 2007. But that training is probably completely different today from what you guys experienced, because we've added a lot of different things. One of them is teaching people how to tap into and make a presentation to their warm market. Not that you're going to have doctors in your warm market, but people know people who know people, right? And so you're right. We teach them how to present what they do and why they can solve problems for doctors, and that sparks all kinds of ideas from their friends, relatives, and other contacts to say, oh, yeah, well, I've got, so-and-so, I've a sister-in-law who works for a doctor or whatever. And so you just tapped into that warm market. That's exactly what that was.
Right.
Now, let's see. Mary wants to know, what physician specialties are you working with? How helpful is well, that's a different question. Let me go on for that one first. Besides an internist, now, what do you guys have?
Well, Mary, that's a good question. We spread our net broadly at the beginning. We had internal medicine and a psychiatrist and chiropractor. As we have matured our business, just for us, it's not for everybody, we are honing in on internal medicine, family medicine, family medicine. That is what our portfolio pretty much is now. Just because I feel like once you learn that language and learn those codes, you can be really proficient and an expert in that field.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, because I just talked to a licensee the other day that had signed up a podiatrist as their first client, and that podiatrist, of course, knew other podiatrists, and so now they present themselves in the community as, podiatrists, medical billing specialists. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think that's what we have found as well. We did cast it broadly, so I would advise that, just to cast broadly, because you don't know, you don't want to pigeonhole yourself to begin with. And as your business matures, you can kind of evolve as you want to. Yeah.
Hey, let me just mention that there's some questions coming in, folks, that are not really directed towards Joe and Jennifer. And since we have them on the phone today, let's aim the question. Start your question as if you were saying, Joe, Jennifer, and then ask the question, okay? If it has something to do with our opportunity and other things, I see one here from Patricia, for example, that's something that we'll address directly with you one-on-one. Okay, so here's one from the other part of Mary's question, by the way, was how helpful is the practice assessment in helping you gain the client? Do you all do any kind of needs analysis with the doctor's office?
Yes. Do you mean the practice analysis?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. We did that, almost all of ours. We would go in and just gather that data, gather that information, go back and run it through the practice analysis, and then schedule a follow-up meeting to say, this is how we can help you. And that's part of the whole selling process of finding what their issues are and how you can help them solve those issues. Whether it's
right. And go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
Whether that's like, your aging is too long or your overhead is too high, just all kinds of things that they can, but that's part of, I think, the professionalism of just, going through fact-finding, taking the information, running it through the model, and going back and presenting to them and give them this level of confidence that, you're in control and you know what's going on. Joe, do you want to add something to the practice analysis?
Yeah. We typically bring our standard monthly reports that we do for every one of our doctors. We kind of show them on one page what they're doing. How many evaluation and managements, is there any surgery, how many EKGs, things like that by procedure for that month. And then we have, the dollars we brought in for that month. And so these guys can see on a month-to-month basis, how their, quote, volume is doing, how the mix of services that they perform is doing, and what their dollars are doing. But in fairness, the last two clients we took on were train wrecks. I mean, these people were in such bad shape when they knew that they got us and our reputation. After they talked to one or two of our references, that was all they needed to do.
Yeah, we didn't do an analysis.
Right.
What
they
they're
just
saying.
jumped.
They just said, we need help. Let's go now. But
yeah.
And I just want to clarify, like all these reports and everything, it's from the systems that we use. They generate. We're not like this. We're not high-tech gurus that are designing all these things. Everything is at your fingertips that we pull from the system.
Yeah, so the iClaim billing system itself
Correct.
has those reports in there that you can generate for the doctor.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, do you guys actually give the doctors or the staff access to the system at all, like the scheduler or something?
Most definitely. Joe, do you want to speak to that? We have just a wider range of our clients.
Yeah, I would say different clients do different things. We let we let some clients actually, post payments, patient payments. They do that right in the office. Some clients just schedule with the system, and then it's kind of a range. But we encourage them all to run their own ad hoc reports anytime they want. We're sort of proud of how prompt we are when we get a package of super bills for a day's business. Gosh, I don't think it sits on our desk more than 24 hours. It's in, and those claims are filed. So we want them to, yeah, sure, check behind us. We'll show you.
Well, not only that, I would just say that the transparency is helpful for these doctors, that we have nothing to hide. Back to what Patrick was saying at the beginning of, it's cloud-based, they can get on. And when you have that presentation, you want them to have this level of just assurance that, hey, we have nothing to hide. It is transparent. Everything is there. It's not some smoky mirrors. And so that's, I think, another thing that is great about this product, that the doctors are like, wow, and it's so easy. I mean, we don't train, quote unquote, the staff. It's very intuitive, and they pick it up themselves. I mean, it's just point and click.
Yeah, and you can't do that with software that's, just installed on your computer in your office, of course. It has to be cloud-based to allow them to do that, so that's great.
And it's very user-friendly, and our clients, use it, to Joe's point, to vast degrees, but I know when we present it, they are all highly confident that everything is transparent. Is a huge selling point versus, oh, well, we'll get you that report, or, oh, well, no, you look right there whenever you want, whatever you want.
It's live. It's real time.
Yeah. Go for it. We have nothing to hide.
Now, back to Mary's second part of her question there about the practice analysis. Folks, that is something that we teach in our live training workshop. We came up with a questionnaire, basically, that has a couple of pages now that we've added to it. That gets you enough information from the doctor to know how to present that. And then we show you how to go back and create a proposal. We have some templates that you use to create the proposal and present that to the doctor. And really, I guess you guys have found that when you do that, it's either a matter of they either believe you or they don't, and they either have a problem that you can solve or you can't. And like you said, about half the time people will go, okay, how do we get started?
I know. I would say even for Joe and I think it was over 8 out of 10 times, we do. But it is that simple. It's getting in the door, collecting the data, going back and give a presentation, and then within, a day or a week or something, they make a decision. It's that straightforward. It's not.
And if, Patrick, I should say this. And I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging. We picked up a client 2 years ago, and I remember as we were first talking with him, he said, I just feel like I'm not getting paid for everything I do. And in the first year that we had that account, I think we increased his business by over $50,000. He went from maybe a little over 400,000 annually to 458 or something like that. And now, he happens to be my doctor now. And when I walk in there, he doesn't. He'll do anything. He will. I haven't seen a doctor bill in a while.
You get special treatment, huh?
Yes, there's some perks to
Patrick,
his. Yeah.
I'm a rock star when I walk in there.
Well, I guess so. You increased his revenue by $50,000. Yeah, he could probably take a vacation and take you with him.
Actually, he's in Paris right now, and they said before we took over the fix, I don't think he had a vacation in 10 years.
Wow, what a success story. That is terrific. Now, I got James is asking for some personal data information here. I'm just going to ask you what he says here. He just says, are you guys working this full time, and do you have kids?
Yes and yes. I'm sorry, was it Pat? What was the gentleman's name? James?
Yeah.
James. Yes, and that's one of the beauties. That's when Joe and I decided that we would start this business, when I think, we talked about how we moved here and we were in corporate America, and we really chose this business for our lifestyle. We had, at the time, maybe 10 and 15. Now they're 14 and 19, or 14 and 18. And these are the formative years for middle school and high school, and they're both very athletic, and we have to be at events all the time. Sometimes they're 3 and 4 in the afternoon, sometimes they're 5, and so we were, I know, cute, Patrick, is that on there now?
Yeah, you sent that to me, and I thought, well, I'm just going to throw that in the slideshow.
So
Those
this
are
is our
good-looking
world
boys.
and our life. We are at a lacrosse field, we're at a football field for the next, for the past 5 years, and the next 5 years we'll be the same.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things, James, that makes this company and this business so desirable for us. It is something is like Patrick is saying, it's internet-based, it's cloud-based. Our clients do not know that we go to this game at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, come back at 6 and still work and get everything done, and everything is in, and they don't know. Oh, and same thing with vacation. Not that we always want to, but, we take our computers with you. We're at a resort. My husband gets up at 5 a.m. The rest of us get up at 8 a.m., so he has everything input by the time we get up. It's just kind of the way it's working for our lifestyle.
It's great for a family business, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
And if you could get the boys, let's see, Carson is the football player there in the picture, right? And Nicholas, the younger one. If you could get them both, to actually help you out with the billing at some point, maybe they could take over the business.
I know. Then we'd really be in.
I hear Joe laughing in the background.
Yeah. To find 1 minute of free time right now is hard to do. But I'm sure, James, if you have children, you know this feeling.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Okay, Ron says, what marketing method worked best to get that all-important first client? I think you mentioned that. He might not have been on here at that time. That was the warm market, basically, that we teach. We also teach business networking. I think we did that probably when you guys came through. But anyway, we go through a whole session on how to connect with the business organizations in your area that will connect you. And one of the greatest things we've just run across, by the way, guys, is joining and helping people find a medical society in their city, because at those functions you're hobnobbing and sitting right next to doctors themselves.
Yes.
A lot of those societies will let you join, as a vendor, a supporter membership, that type of thing. Okay, let's see. Laura wants to know, how do you charge? What kind of percentage do you charge the doctors?
Well, that's been increasing, Laura, as we gain confidence. And, I think when we started out, Joe, it was maybe 6, 7.
5.
Oh,
first one was 5.
Yeah, we did have to go really, really low.
Or 5.5.
Maybe 5.5, because
I think it was 6 years ago.
Maybe 6 years ago, and I think, Laura, you just have to know your market. All markets are different, and you have to know what your average is in your market, and we went a little bit below our average just to gain that first client, to get that experience. And now we're grown up to about 8%. Most of our new clients are at 8%.
Yeah, that's a common story that we hear from licensees. By the way, you guys are not unique in that. Everybody wants to get that first client, so they'll drop the price if they think they can get it at a lower percentage, and then they regret that because that doctor tells the next doctor.
No, but that's a good point, Patrick. We have instructed our doctor, do not say this. Don't you dare. And here's the deal. Because he was our first, we have kept him. I think he's at 6 or 6.5 now. We have kept him low because we felt like he invested in us, and we will keep him low if he never briefs what he pays. And to this day, he's not done that.
That's good. Just threaten them. Say, I'll have to go up to our regular rate, which is 9%. Okay, so let's see. Cecil says, how do you bill the doctors? How do you get your money?
Monthly invoice.
Exactly. I know. And Joe, you want to go through that just so Cecil has a more of detail of just what that would look like?
I quickly grabbed from the system for each client how much cash we posted that month. That's a one-page.
So the money you collected for them, how much money you actually collected for them?
That's correct.
From patients and insurance. Go ahead.
So let's say it was $38,000, and this client is at 7.5%. I do the math. I go to for each account, go to QuickBooks, and fire out a quick statement. Some of the guys, most of them I fax the statement to the office. Some guys email it, and some guys I actually need to put it in the mail. But at the first of the month, I bill all our clients for the previous month.
So to answer you get paid on a monthly basis, and usually the first 10 days of the month. Go ahead.
Okay, because some licensees are actually billing every 2 weeks, just to kind of be more, I don't know, get the cash flow going and kind of timed with their other payroll and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah. But as long as you send out an invoice, in other words, have you ever had trouble collecting from doctors?
Never. Patrick, we basically hold their life in our hands, and they know.
I started to say you've got their cash flow that you could just turn off all of a sudden.
Exactly. If their cash isn't flowing to us, they won't be flowing to them much very longer. I mean,
right.
That's the good news. Potential licensees, that you do have a lot of power in your hands, and their livelihood depends on you.
Sure.
But that is the basis of the initial hurdle. The fact that it is such a major decision for these guys. Getting that first client really helps, and anything you can do to get it. References, character references. I think probably it helped that Jennifer and I had business backgrounds, and that we presented ourselves as solid, stable people with a lot of integrity, and that comes across in the doctor's office, and that's kind of how you close that first deal.
You bet. And I don't know if we were doing this back when you guys started, but we actually offer to do references now for new licensees because they don't have any references. They don't have anybody to point to, and so we just have them, give us as the, I'm the founder of the network, the nationwide network of medical billing companies, the largest in the nation, and so the doctors call me and I speak with them directly. Then, if the doctor is looking for a real specific reference from a type of doctor, I always tell them that I can find those references for them because we don't just give out doctors' names and phone numbers. We are very, very protective of that for our licensing
clients.
Yes,
Patrick, you had that for us. For our first client, we didn't need that because our I guess our reference was their friend, so we didn't need to cash in on that. But yes, that was available to us as well.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Steve says, what is the most difficult part of the relationship you have with the doctors or practices for doing your job?
Okay. Was it Steve? Was the person?
Uh-huh.
Steve. I would say the key is a great practice manager up front. If you can think about this, it's garbage in, it's garbage out. You're only as effective on the back end of billing as the information you get on the front end, if that makes sense to you. For example, you can only do your job if the patient is in there correct. We have the right demographics, we have the right insurance, so the claim won't be rejected because the insurance is wrong. So that office, the front office is so important to our business running smoothly. And so I have had that discussion when we first look for new clients. We just got one last month, and they've had a lot of turnover in the front office. And I've had meetings with the doctors to say, we're only as good as the information coming to us. So if you want your cash to flow quickly and efficiently, we need to tighten up this front office and hire another front office. So I would just say that is kind of something to really look at when you're looking in your rapport with that front office. How long have they been there? Are they good at what they do? And I also look for that as an opportunity when you change billers or when they hire us. And Patrick and this group, talk about best practices at particular facility, so you can kind of go through. They have a checklist of best practices of what you need from them, how things should flow, et cetera, so you can change the culture when you get in. We have done that for several of the clients. So I would say that was the biggest thing, because some of our clients are much better than others, and it all is dependent on how efficient that office manager is in getting us timely data, because we have all these things coming in every day, all these that need to be filed, and it's sometimes it's a black hole. You send them, I need this, and 3 weeks later. So that's the inefficiency. But we have meetings with our doctors on once a month to say, to raise the flag, to say this is a problem. And, they usually get rid of, or, change change the front office if that's necessary. So I would say, Steve, that is a huge thing to look out for and establish that early on.
Yeah, I love that idea of having that meeting once a month and just let them, express any concerns that they have about anything. That's being as open as you can.
Exactly, because, you just want to protect your business as well, because they see aging and they see things backing up. And if you're proactive and say, well, here's the deal, these things I have not gotten back from your office in a month, and so these things are aging, and this is a problem. And so you want to be proactive, and because, this is your business and your reputation on the line as well.
Sure. All right, Cecil wants to know, how much time do you devote to the business each week, and how many doctors do you bill for?
Okay, I think we have 7 in our portfolio now, and time-wise, my husband and I probably, I'm sure we both put in, combined a 40-hour a week. I would have to just add up if it's more than that. I don't think, and what I find, Cecil, is what Joe and I have found, and you will find this, every time we add another client to our portfolio, I think, okay, we're going to need to, spend more time or hire more people or whatever. And I find that we just are more efficient, and we just are faster and more efficient, so we can absorb more. And really, after the first 3 months of the new client, I'm ready for the next, And so I'm sure that we'll add hours if we need to. But I would say a good 40-hour week for both of us for client base of 6 or 7 clients, maybe a 50-hour week for both of us. Joe would say, I'm sorry, he had to drop off. He had to go to a meeting, but he would say he puts in a 30 to 40, and I probably do 20. So maybe it's 50 to 60. I'm sorry, I should probably give more thought to that. But because my life is just in and out, and I'm not sitting here 9 to 5.
Punching in and punching out, yeah.
Exactly. Because I go and do whatever I need to do, whether, and go meet at the school or I go to a game, and it's hard for me to but I should probably do that one day to see how many hours we do log in. But it's very manageable. I don't feel like I am stressed at the end of the day going, oh my gosh, I can't get everything done. And we have, a nice portfolio.
And Jennifer, I don't think I've ever asked you this, but I'm assuming since you're both working this full-time, that it's providing a full-time, what you would think of as a full-time income for both of you.
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Great. Let's see, Laura, I think we answered your question. How many practices does she have? She said 7. Now, Jennifer, did you mean by that you have 7 doctors or practices?
Practices.
Multiple? Okay, so some of those have multiple doctors, yeah.
Some, but most of ours are 1 or 2, because internal medicine doesn't have huge, or ones we don't have, yeah.
Now, Shayla's asking if you service hospitals along with private practices. You can't, right? You don't do hospital billing.
No, but what our new client does do hospital visits that we bill for him. So that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
But yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's maybe a hospitalist. That's what they call. Right. Some doctors don't even have an office. They just go to the hospital and see patients there.
Well, he does both. Oh my gosh, this guy sees 30 patients a day in his office, and he still does hospital. I don't know how he does it all, but wow. Yeah, he's
putting in the hours.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
All right, Jason's asking questions about what are your billing cycles with the doctors? You said about once a month you actually bill them, and he also said something about how do you get paid? Well, they send you a check, huh? After you send them an invoice.
Correct. And
yeah, so you're using I think Joe said you're using QuickBooks or some
correct.
software program like that. Yeah.
Just so you can generate an invoice and keep up with it, but and you'll have that in your contract too. It's your business, and you can write whatever you want in your contract. I think we said in the first 10 business days that the payments due, and that's usually not a problem. They get it within a week. We have the payment. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So Ron says, so Jennifer, you can do the billing any time in the 24 hours?
Yes, that is the beauty of it. My husband's an early riser, so he likes to get up and do. I like to go to the gym and maybe start at about 9. So we're all on different times, but that is the beauty of it, that we can do it whenever, because it's internet based and you can get on it, and we are just the type of person, we don't like everything building up on our desk, so we like everything done within a 24-hour period, so whatever that 24 hours looks like.
Yeah,
But that's just us. I mean, anybody
Sure.
can do whatever they want. Yeah.
Yeah, get it cleared off and get on to the next thing. All right, let's see. Laura, wait, let me go back here. Jason says, as a new licensee, did physicians or office managers ask about your experience in medical billing? If so, what was your normal response?
That's a good question, and I don't really remember. I think to your point, Patrick, earlier that you're saying, well, we have this, we're relatively new at this, but we have the support of, a major company behind us. I think I can't really remember the terminology, but you gave us a kind of a script to say we're backed by this ABS company, and they have over 14,000 licensees. You have a little thing. So I remember like the first time we had to maybe use that, and it hasn't been a problem. But after really your first client, maybe your second, it isn't ever an issue again.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had 14,000 licensees. Actually, it's about 1,500. But you're right. We teach you and the licensees who come through our training that, of course, you don't have any background in medical billing, but it's kind of like opening a local office for, Century 21. You've never sold a house in your life, but you've been trained how to do that, right? And so the same thing is true here, folks. You open up your local office and you tell them that. I've just opened a local office. We're a part of a nationwide network of over 1,500 offices nationwide. We do thousands of claims every day for hundreds of doctors from coast to coast.
There, right, I remember that there was a script like that. Right, that it was helpful that first client, but after that, obviously, I forgot the script because I didn't know the numbers anymore because I haven't had to use that anymore.
Right, yeah. All right, Mary says, what is your physician market like? And then she has in parentheses, independent physicians versus employed.
Employed meaning big companies.
Working for a big group or for a hospital, maybe.
Exactly. Probably that's why we ended up with internal medicine. I hear her question, and I guess the landscape has changed in the 5 years, but not dramatically. I would still say there is plenty of independent people, but I hear what she's saying. We're in a market with huge hospitals. We have Duke Medical. We're in really a medical area that is dominant by these big, and yet we are still able to find independent people that will go with us. So I think that will always be the case. I do think you're always going to have the larger companies, but I think you're always going to be people that don't want to go with the large ones and want to stay independent. So I think there's still quite a market for independent.
Yeah, we've seen that same thing with a lot of licensees in all areas of the country, really. There are hospitals who are buying up doctors and forming these large groups. And then here recently we found an article in a medical magazine that said that doctors are now realizing that they become employees. Their income is limited. They're given exactly what hours they should work and shouldn't work and so forth, and they're coming out of those groups. As many of them that are joining are coming out. So, like you said, there'll always be doctors out there. I think with our medical
and we can attest for that too. Our personal doctor did that, and the care of services like it's like every 15 minutes because they've been told every 15 minutes you got to turn them out, and they're like, this is not what I signed up for, and they're getting out. We've seen that.
Yeah. Jason, I'm not sure what your question means. He says, how many people did you start with? Maybe he's talking about...
People meaning Joe, just my husband and I. Yes. Yeah. Very doable.
So, right.
And we, at one time, had employees, and we find that, I think I alluded to earlier, we just got more efficient and more efficient and more efficient and just found that we could absorb more and more clients. And I still think we just took on one last month, and maybe next month I feel like, okay, I'm ready to absorb another one now.
Yeah, you learn what you're doing and get more efficient, and therefore you can just handle more yourself,
Right.
Although we do have licensees, of course, who outsource the billing to friends, relatives, or whoever they want to, because, again, they can work from their home using the web-based system, too.
But I would say this, Patrick, and I have, if you do that is fine. It's your business. I would say your first client, just like you can't be a good manager unless you know how to do. And I would just say that first client, everybody needs to really know how to do, and then you can manage people. That's my only thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Really
You've got to get your feet wet and feel comfortable with that first one, and that may take you a couple or 3 months of billing for that first one before you even want to go out and get the second one. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's see. Shayla says, Jennifer, do you service doctors in other states?
We currently do not, Shayla, but I have talked to several licensees that do. And it may happen one day, Shayla, but I really like the personal encounter, face-to-face with doctors and meeting with them once a month. We are in Raleigh metropolitan area right now. We are branching out to another town, like an hour or two from here. Moving in a different direction, kind of to your point of, with big hospitals buying up, there's markets that might be a little more lucrative. So we've moved out an hour outside of town, but still I want to be commutable. That's just me. Other licensed do it all the time, and you can. That's the beauty of this. There's no territory or anything. But so even if in the city I'm like moving out to a different radius, which is still doable for me at least once a month to get out to those clients as well.
Yeah, I think we have a licensee in, I think it's Florida, that their first client was a reference from some friend of a friend in another state. Well, they flew out and actually had a meeting with that doctor and signed him up. And after that, of course, they started getting references from that doctor to other doctors in that area. And after the first one, when it's a referral like that, they decided, I don't need to fly out. I can do all this over the internet. This is a paperless business,
It certainly is. It is. Yes, most definitely. And you can do it by phone and fax and everything. But yes. And maybe one day we'll end up, but just for our business right now, we really like the personal contact. But you're right. The business doesn't prohibit you doing that.
No. Cecil says, how much do you have to know about billing codes to be successful? Did you know anything about coding?
Zero.
Zero. I love to hear that, because we tell people that and nobody believes it until they get in and start using the system.
Well, not
you don't
only
come
that,
up with the codes. The doctor gives you the codes,
exactly. And we're very careful that you as a licensee, I don't think you want to take on that liability. Like, they need to code it. They know what they're doing in that office, so you don't want to take that on, so you don't need to know it.
No. All the codes are built into our system, folks, and our technology partner keeps those codes up to date. They have a full-time certified medical coder that's all they do is make sure those codes are accurate. All right, let's see. Laura says, after the first client, how did you market to get other physicians?
Again, we did the training that ABS provided. Just, I really like door-to-door, getting the contact, calling, and probably I'm trying to think of my next client. I think I got from that just personal touch. You just go in with whatever, sometimes a business card, sometimes whatever marketing material. Just get the practice manager name, follow up. It's timing. It's whoever is in pain that day and go, oh, you came. Oh, let me have, so it's that kind of thing. That was probably the second or third. But then after about 2 or 3, I will say that I haven't marketed very much in a couple of years, which I probably need to get back out there again. And but it's really referrals since then.
We hear that from a lot of licensees that even after the first one, sometimes they just refer and work the doctors and ask them, say, look, this is how I grow my business. Are there any other doctors that I could contact and see if they have some pain?
We have done that, and we've gotten probably 5 or 6 referrals, 1 or 2 on our own. And so, yes, it's just really that first one. And after that, really, life gets, it's relatively easy, and then we don't spend that much time on marketing. We spend on just getting more clients and working the clients. Mm-hmm.
Sure. Doing a good job for them. Mm-hmm. All right. Jason says, how is your time spent? Phone, computer, office meetings, doctors' offices, and so forth?
I would say the majority definitely is on the computer, inputting claims. Of course, we have some follow-up on the phone with different clients, follow-up with insurance companies on the phone as well. One of the things, just as you get into your business, whatever works for you. We have asked all our clients to contact us by email. So when we're on the computer so much, so we can see it pop up, we say, if you want us right away, do not call us on the phone, because we don't answer the phone that much. It goes to voicemail because if it's a stop and start. It's not efficient, and then you can make mistakes when you're in the system. So if they email you and say, urgent, call me right away, of course, then you can do that. Or they email you and say, could you get back to me within the day or so. So we really try to work efficiently. And so to answer your question, we would be on the computer for the most part. But I do more of the marketing and the face-to-face and go into meetings. And Joe probably spends more of his day on the computer, but I'm once a week in the offices. I just like that. I like to pick up their EOBs, the explanation of benefits, see if they have any needs, anything we need to nip in the bud right away before our monthly meeting. It's just who I am and just, that personal. But so I'm probably in and out more and maybe on the phone more, and Joe's probably on the computer more.
All right, good. Mary says, are you posting payments, or is the physician's staff posting them?
We have a hybrid. Well, definitely on the insurance payments, we do exclusively. So, and you'll learn this we do a lot electronically. They come because we have these lovely systems that, you can just post electronically, and some we post manually that are not allowed electronically, but we try to do. But the patient payments, like when you send them a bill, which the system does for you to send them everything, and if the patient send a check to the office, some practice managers just think it's easier to put it in the system, and some managers think it's easier to fax over the payment and we put it in. So it's a hybrid on the patient side, but definitely on the insurance side, we do it all.
All right, and she goes on to say, you referenced payments from the patients. Do you get a percentage when they make copays, or just from the payments on accounts?
We get a percentage from the copays as well. Some providers will try to get out of that, and I hear them. But what we say
but
is,
you ignore them.
Well, right, I know. But what we say is, we can have a picture of everybody what they owe unless it's all in our system. So everything we have in our system to tell you how much you took in this month and this year and how much the patients owe, unless we have all that in our system. Yeah. We can't account for everything correctly. So we need it in there, and therefore it is included in our fee.
Yeah, that's true with most of our licensees.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Dale says, Jen, for how often do you have to replace a client who has left? Have you ever lost a client?
Well, no, the only one we did, they were bought out by a larger company. It was a psychiatric business, an independent one, and they went with us, but we weren't comfortable with the way that they were doing the practice of billing, and we were comfortable with the provider that we were doing when he was independent. We weren't as comfortable, so we just parted ways when they were bought out. But we have never lost one because they just wanted to change billers. So we had extraordinary circumstances like that.
Sure. All right, let's see. Laura says, do patients call you about their bills? How do you get the info from the office? Well, you have most of that in your system, I guess, whether they pay
Correct.
or not. And how much
and
they owe.
We do have it on and you can do whatever you want. It's your business. That's what I tell everybody. We do have on our statements that go out to the patients our phone number usually, and so they will call us, and then we can it's at our fingertips. You just pull up their patient's name. You can figure out what they owe. So, yes, the patients do call us, but again, we try to maybe empty our mailbox or voicemail once a day and call them back when we need to, but we don't answer the phone all the time when they're calling, because that's not efficient use of everybody's time.
Sure. Mm-hmm. All right, one last question here. Manish says, do you do demos for any of your clients of the ABS system, and if yes, what was the doctor's reaction? I don't think you guys, when you went through training, we didn't even train you to let us do a demo of the system to the doctor, did you?
I think that you offer that as an option, but at least what I have found is most doctors really don't want it. They just want to know that you can do it and that you're people of integrity, and just do it and make my cash flow.
Just get my money.
Yes, just make my cash flow. I really don't really want to know the system.
Yeah, no, and a lot of them don't. We have been offering that for licensees because sometimes during that demo, of course, the doctor is so impressed with the high-tech, leading-edge, cutting-edge technology that they get excited about it, and we tie that in with how the billing can be helpful to them and so forth, and we answer all their questions for them. So that takes a little pressure off of some of the new licensees out there.
Yeah, but I will say that, just selling, not that they have to visibly see it, but I think the selling of the cloud concept that Patrick was talking about, it is, transparent. Your practice manager, you will have access. Everybody has, we set them up that they have access and their password. You go in there anytime. Gives them this a level of confidence that, okay, if I need to, I will. They don't. The practice managers do, but the doctors don't.
No, they don't.
But just that level of, wow.
They know they could if they wanted to.
Exactly. And you don't feel like it's a black hole.
Right. Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to wrap this up for folks by telling them a little bit more about that training class. Tell Joe I said thank you for him, too.
I will. Take care. Thanks.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, there you've heard it. Another one of our successful licensees. We do these interviews, every 3 or 4 weeks. We've got a new licensee on here telling about their success. So we've got another webinar coming up next week, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that here in just a moment. A very special time for that one, by the way, not 3 p.m. in the afternoon like at Central Time, like it is today. Next week it's 7:30. But first, let me tell you that when you join ABS, we will teach you everything that you just heard from Joe and Jennifer. We will show you the proposals. We have the professional proposals already designed to show you how to present those to doctors. We have all the marketing materials with your name and logo printed on them so that you look like a real business that's out there, including an entire postcard campaign. Yes, these are real postcards that can go in the mail, or you can send them, of course, by email as well. We have trade show displays that you can borrow from us when you're having a medical convention in your area. We have a whole professional website that you can set up. We put your name and logo on that and contact information and so forth. It's already designed for you. You'd spend about $3,000 for that. We have a book that I wrote on Cash Crunch to Cash Flow for doctors that you can use as a marketing tool, along with a DVD with actual testimonials from doctors who've outsourced their billing to some of our licensees. You use this as a marketing tool. There's no mention of the other licensees, of course, or us even as a company. Great tool for you to market and share what the doctors have found. We give you full reports that you can show the doctors as to what they can get. We have their online auto card system that's got over 15,000 different cards designed for you to send out for the doctors to increase their patient base. And we'll even teach you how to hire sales reps. All of this is a part of your full lifetime support once you become an ABS licensee. So I've shown you some screenshots there, I think, of some of the ways you can access our system, including from tablets like the iPad, the iPhone. Any smartphone or device can access the system. That's what it looks like when a doctor is accessing their schedule, for example. Next week's webinar is at special time, 7:30 Central. That's 8:30 Eastern, of course, and it's called an open mic Q&A. This is with me, the founder of American Business Systems, and I also have on there my guest, Eric Auger, who is our Director of Research and Development. You'll be able to ask any questions you want for the full hour of that webinar, so be sure and be on there. We'll be sharing some exciting new news about some things that we've just run across, but then we'll open the mics up and let you actually speak to us if you wish. Now, you can go register for that right now. I'm going to put this on the chat window. So let me pause the screen there just for a second, and I'm going to actually capture this link and put that in the chat. Now, that means you have to look down there in your GoToWebinar control panel, not at the question box, but at the chat box. Let me see if I can put that in there right here, right now, and send it to everybody. There. So that's the link to register for that next webinar next Friday evening. If you've got a spouse or a partner that's not able to be on here during the daytime, this is a good time for you to get them signed up for that webinar. Go link on that right when we quit here and go sign up for it right now. Like I said earlier, folks, we do have the next training coming up in May, 2 weeks from this Monday. There's only 7 seats open, so if you're still doing your due diligence, trying to get your funding together, be sure and reserve those seats as quickly as possible to make sure you can be in this class. We have a phone number there on the screen for you that you can jot down. If you haven't called us and engaged with us, we'll be sure and answer all of your questions in that conversation with you on the phone. So be sure and call us for that. We do have a lifetime 100% money-back guarantee, I should say. We call it a 100% money-back guarantee because at the end of the workshop, if for any reason you don't think this business is right for you, you just tell any of my staff members and they'll arrange for you to receive a full refund of your license fee. Now, if you don't know about the fee, go to our website. There's a link right up the top about what the investment is, and you'll find out that we basically have set it high enough to make sure that you're serious about getting into business for yourself and you're going to make a go of it. But if you come to our workshop and decide it's not for you, you get every penny of that fee back. I don't know of any other company that will do anything like that, folks, because we know what we've got. So be sure and call us. Thanks for being on here. Hope I see you on that webinar next week at 7:30 Central Time. And I hope I see you at one of our upcoming live training workshops as well. Thanks for being with us today. Bye for now.